welcome you to this learning session. Thanks, Dev. That was timely. I welcome you all to this learning session brought to you by the Coaching Support Group Community of Practice of ICF Mumbai Charter Chapter. Allow me to introduce you to the hosting team for this session. My name is Gayatri Anand, and I'm your host for today. I am a coach, and also I lead the Coach Support Group Community of Practice for ICF Mumbai Charter Chapter. With me in the hosting team today are Dev and Preeti. They're both PCC coaches and members of the ICF Mumbai Charter Chapter and ambassadors of the Coaching Support Group Community of Practice. And thank you, Dev and Preeti, for supporting me and Francis through this webinar today. Just some hygiene pointers before we plunge into the discussion itself. Kindly keep yourselves off video and mute your mics through the webinar until we open the house for interactions and Q&A. This is to avoid disruption in the transmission and also could cause bandwidth issues for some of you. During this session, if you have a burning question, please do put it in the chat box. Preeti will be taking note of those, curating them, and ask them in the Q&A segment, which follows the end of the session. And for those who wish to claim the CCUs for the session, we will post a link in the Google form, a link to a Google form in the chat box sometime at the end of closer to start of the Q&A. So you could make a note of that and apply through the Google form to claim your certificate. We also invite you to stay on after the session for 15 minutes of networking and sharing after a quick feedback call. And last but not the least, we will have a quick photo shoot before the Q&A begins, and I shall prompt you to turn on the camera for the same. I once again welcome you all to this learning engagement brought to you by the COP Coaching Support Group of ICF Mumbai Charter Chapter. Today, we are having a masterclass on supervision, what, why, and how, exploring deeply to expand the capacity of the coach. Supervision is potentially a transformative conversation. Supervision enables supervisees to slow down thinking and increase observation. It enables them to have new ideas, new perspectives. It returns the supervisee to their work, resourced, empowered, and fully engaged in self-observation and in their own learning. And we have Dr. Frances Penafort from Malaysia, who is conducting this masterclass for us. She's an International Coach Federation Master Certified Coach, focusing primarily on supporting leaders. Her professional qualifications include an MCC from ICF, Certified Mentor Coach from Invite Change USA, and she is an accredited coach supervisor, CSA from United Kingdom. She is the Director of Education at Francis Coaching School. Francis was elected the first president of the ICF Malaysia chapter in 2011. She was a board member of the ICF Global Thought Leadership Institute from 2020 to 21, and board director of the ICF Global Enterprise Board from 2020 to 21 again, and the board director of ICF Ethics Global Board from 2016 to 2019. She is a member of the ICF Global Nominating Committee and member of the ICF Core Competency Review Team. Francis' coaching philosophy is to partner with leaders in their transformation journey so they can showcase their better version. She specializes in being a catalyst of transformation to all her coaching clients. And a fun fact about her, which in fact I knew only when we picked up a conversation with her, is that she walked solo for 125 kilometers in the hills of Northwest Spain for over 6 days with a light backpack. Thank you so much, Francis, for being here and for agreeing to do this session for our ICF Mumbai chapter members and coaches from all over the globe who are here. I hand it over to you, all yours, and we would like to be really enlightened about what supervision is and how it supports a coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, ICF Charter Chapter. And one more fun fact. My parents came from South India in the state of Kerala. So I can speak 2 or 3 words of Malayalam.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Good. I wish I knew some Malayalam to reciprocate.
That's all.
കുറച്ച് അറിയാം. I would love to speak with you, Francis, after this.
No. The rest all will be in English.
All right.
Okay.
Over to you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So in today's session, I just want to share with you what is supervision, why supervision is needed by coaches, and what are some ways the supervisor can support the coaches, the supervisees. Yeah. Okay, so my background, you've already known. And there's one more fun fact or real fact. I have been invited as a keynote speaker in New York 2 weeks' time. So I'll be flying to New York in a women's empowerment conference. Okay, so as we come into this session as a supervisor, the first thing we would do is get our supervisees to come to a centering point. That means we encourage them to take a deep breath, which I'm going to ask you all to do now. Just take a deep breath. Hold it, and then just exhale. And as we are doing that, what we are trying to do is pause all the changes and running around and driving and coming back from office, all that hustle and bustle, the energy is moving very fast. So we want to slow it down. Slow it down. So every supervision session that you go in, the supervisor will get you to slow down. So starting with slowing down of your breath and centering. So now what is supervision? So we're going to answer 3 big questions. The first question is, what is supervision? Now there are many definitions. I think Gayatri read to you one beautiful one, but I want to simplify it and just share with you what it means to me, yeah, and what I learned. So supervision is actually like 2 words, super and vision. So vision means using your eyes, and not just your eyes, but your heart and your being to look at something. And what are we looking at? We are looking at the supervisee, who is a coach. Okay, so coaches need a coach because we are always with our clients. Clients come to us and they share with us what is their issue, where they are stuck, why are they feeling this way, and we are supporting them as a coach. Then who supports us as a coach? Who supports us? We also sometimes get frustrated or upset or low energy, and who's going to support us? So we bring our cases, our issues, our being to a supervisor. So what does the supervisor do? They use their lens, their vision, and take a higher view so that they can see it on a broader scale. So they can see different perspectives, and they can even help you to identify which part you're getting entangled. Your energy can't flow because there is some entanglement. So these are the common areas that a supervisor will look at with the vision. And one is the emotions of the coach. Why is the supervisee, a coach, coming to me, and why is the supervisee not unable to manage their emotion? What triggered it? So the supervisor will help them to open it up, help them to have a look, and then give a perspective, help them to shift their perspective. Second area is energy. The supervisee was very energetic, everything, but in this case, the energy went down. Why? Because something the client said to them, and then their energy shifted. So the supervisor will help them to open that case up, help them to see and reflect. It's a space of reflection that the supervisor invites them to. so they can reflect on the energy. Another cluster is looking at, okay, so this is what you as the supervisee want, but what is the guide? What is our guideline? What is the code of ICF say? What is the 8 core competencies guide us to? So then we are supporting the supervisee to see, oh, this is what I want to do, but actually this is what I should be doing. So it's like guiding them, but showing them the right things to do in some scenarios. So we looked at what supervision is on a very high level, but I just zeroed in on these aspects, which a supervisor will use their vision and have a look. How is supervision conducted? There are many ways of doing it. Either it's in group or individual. Okay, so whether it's on virtual or whether it's in person, that is another way of doing it. But so far, I've been involved in group supervision and I've had one-to-one supervision also. Now, how does the supervisor do the supervision? Sometimes the supervisor use tools. So these tools are, for example, I have this little examples here, like the elephant key, the sitting Buddha tree. So when the supervisor came to me and said, you know, I'm struggling, I want to do this, I can't move, I feel stuck. So instead of analyzing and spending a lot of my energy, a supervisor can also use these tools. These are like metaphors. You bring these tools and I ask the supervisor, choose, just see which one resonates for you, and they picked up. So when they picked up these 3, one was a tree that she picked up. Second one was the sitting Buddha. And the third one was the key. So I said, okay, we push all the rest aside. Now to the supervisee, I'm questioning and helping the supervisee to see a different perspective to her issue, why she was stuck. So even as a coach, I can do that. But now as a supervisor, I'm doing that. And the supervisee got the insights, got the revelation, because she reflected, not using her head space, but rather using that creative, resourceful experience. She brought all that into this session. So now she found out that the tree is what she's heading for. She wants to bear the fruits. But the sitting Buddha was to be the base. That's to be the anchor for her. Why? Because she wants to tap from the wisdom that she has, her inner wisdom that she wants. And she found the key. The key was going to be some of the action steps that she was going to take to unlock this. So just using metaphors can help. The supervisee can be helped in this way. Another tool that supervisor uses is small animals, so little animals. So one of the supervisee came, I do not understand why I am like, I feel so much for my client. I feel like I want to help them. I want to support them. I want to do a lot of things for them. So I said, why don't you choose one of the animals that represents you right now? And she chose the bear, like she's the mama bear and she has to be the baby has come and she has to look after them. Then I have to help her to see the perspective. What does ICF want from you? So immediately she learns to reflect using the small caricature, the small models of animals. Another way I use a tool that I use is picture cards. So they bring a situation to me, so to help them to reflect on their situation. So I push them into a space of self-reflection by giving them these cards. So they pick the card and then let's say it's the child. So they said, then they realize, I don't understand why my emotions get triggered when clients are difficult. You know, when they are not difficult, then I don't face these kind of emotions. So there is so much of judgment within her towards her clients and towards herself. So what's the root of this? Where did this come from? So help them to go deep within themselves and do self-reflection. So this is another tool that I, as a supervisor, use. So the second question, the big question was how supervision is done. So I hope I've answered that and given you some examples. Now, the third big piece, and this is the crunch of the whole masterclass, is why do coaches need supervision? So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going not to tell you, but I'm going to break your pattern. That means I want to shift the way you're thinking. I want the reason why a coach should go and see a supervisor or go for supervision. I want you to feel that from deep within so that it will come up. So why supervision? Why do you need supervision? So how do I do this? How do I break your mindset and your pattern is, I'm going to share with you 5 case studies about 5 different coaches who brought their own scenarios and situation to a group supervision session. And then each one of the 4 other coaches who were there, including me as a supervisor, started to explore and help that coach to dive deep into their situation. So by diving deep, the coach, the supervisee, gets to see different perspectives of that same scenario. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you the first case study 1. Okay, so the coach or the supervisee brings this case to the supervision, group supervision. So the supervisee is called the coach because the coach went through this. So he wanted to know, or he wanted to confirm, what is the best practice about how to start a coaching session? So then we asked him, why are you bringing this question? What's your real issue? And he said, I want to know what's the purpose of asking a standard set of questions. So you're coming with this coaching. What's the topic? What's the value? What's the importance? What's the measure of success? So to him, it sounded too academic, too robotic. So we asked, as the group supervisors asked him, so what do you want it to feel like if it's not too academic or too, oh, I want it to be more natural. I want my questions to reach and touch the client's heart and their being so that they can share deeply what it is that they're bringing to the situation. So we heard all this and then we started to explore. We asked questions. So as a supervisor, we want to help the supervisor get into the space of self-reflection. So we create that space. So what happened was we asked them, so what is the reason do you think that there is a topic and a value and a measure of success for what? Why was this set in place? So he had to explore and think deep. Yeah, actually, why? I'm just complaining that I don't like it. But why was it put there in the first place? So then slowly through that reflection, he understood we need to scope that conversation. Okay, why do you think there is a check-in? Why can't you just have a conversation and make the client feel their heart is being open? Why do you need to check in? Again, we want to check and see whether the scope of the conversation is a coaching conversation leading towards an outcome. Then what does ICF say about this? So ICF says, if you're a professional coach, you need to be of service to your client. It's not to be of service to your discomfort. I don't feel comfortable. That ICF is not about your discomfort. That's not who you are there to serve. So you're serving your client. And ICF puts these structures into place so that the conversation is a coaching conversation and not a chit-chat conversation, just not a normal conversation where there's no measure of success, where there's no outcome, where there's no importance. Okay, and the focus, who are you focusing on during the coaching conversation. So these were the questions we put forward to him. And then he had to explore, and he said, yeah, I shifted the focus to me and how discomfort I was feeling. So because of the discomfort, he didn't want to ask these questions. And finally, he learned that coaching is a combination of art and science. Art is when you dance with the client, but science is when you need to follow some framework so that you're keeping it as a professional coaching conversation. Why? Because you have a professional relationship with your client. And that is what ICF wants you to endorse. So I hope from this first case study that you're getting some reason why a coach goes to a supervisor, why supervision is needed. Okay, let me go and move to case study number 2. So in case study number 2, the supervisee comes and says she has a client, and because they belong to the same small community in Malaysia, it's a small community, she is close to the client. And she is supporting the client to resolve some marriage issues. But what is happening to her is she's being impacted emotionally. So she's coming to the supervision session, sharing the story, sharing her pain and crying. Okay. So I said, what's the question? How can we as supervisors support you? So she said she wants to know what's the best option to move forward for all 3 parties, for the coach, her, for her client, and their dependents to the client, the children are involved. Okay. So as in the group supervision, we forwarded and brought up these questions. So one of it was looking at the coach mindset. In core competency number 2, the coach, what type of emotions should the coach be ready to face from their clients? And the core competency number 2 says it is a range of emotions, from anger, sadness, joy, irritation, right up to love. You can face the whole range. And as a professional coach, your job is to build that capacity to manage that whole range of emotions. Then you are wearing a coach mindset. So that was the first thing that she picked up from our conversation in the coaching, a supervision session. Second one was the boundaries. Who do you choose to be your client? Who can be your client and who cannot be your client? So when we posed this question, she reflected and she realized this person is too close. Because this person is too close, she felt the emotion of the other person and took it on. So that's something that she realized as a supervisee in the supervision session. The third question we asked her was, so who is your client in this case? And that was a big awareness and realization for her. She said her focus shifted from the lady who was sitting in front of her towards the children. The children are not in the room, but her mental focus shifted to them. So we asked what happened, why did it shift suddenly? She said, because I'm a mother and I have 4 kids and this lady has 4 kids and she's a mother. So what will happen to the children? Oh, so the whole emotions of the children, what will happen? She took it because she saw her role as mother. So the identity of the client got confused for her because of her emotional state, and she was not centered at that moment. Then there are many modalities we asked. We asked her, what made you take on a marriage counseling? is that something that falls under your coaching services that you're providing? So that also was a question. So as a coach, sometimes you just want to help somebody, but you forgot to think, is that a model? There are so many helping modalities. Marriage counseling is one, mediation is another one. But am I capable? Am I equipped to support a client like this? So in supervision, these questions come up. And finally, when I showed her the set of animals, she chose the monkey because she realized she was carrying the monkey of the children and the mother on her back. So she couldn't cope. So that's why she was actually emotionally breaking down. So all this was unpacked in a supervision session. Now, if there's no supervision, can you imagine she will be carrying this? I'm not sure why I'm crying. I'm not sure why I'm emotional. But in the supervision session, we helped her to unpack. Okay, so this is case number 2. I got 3 more. So this is focusing on the emotions. Okay, case number 3. I hope y'all are making notes as to why supervision is important. All right. Case number 3 is a coach is feeling guilty when the client comes to her. This is the supervisee, right? Supervisee brings this scenario. You know, when I was coaching, I started to feel guilty when the client came in and she asked for advice and I didn't want to give because I am practicing as a coach. I refused to give her advice. The coach felt, the client felt like, "Hey, why aren't you giving me advice? I asked you this question. Why can't you just help me?" So the coach says, "Oh my goodness, the only way I can support my client, the only way I can give value to my client is if I give advice." So we inquired, "What makes you think that? Why are you going to think that way, that track?" And she said, "Because I'm a consultant and a coach. So when my clients come, they see me as a consultant, so they want that answer." So then we helped her to do deep reflection to understand there are a range of modalities and you are choosing to be a consultant and you're also choosing to be a coach. Now, when can you be this to the same client? So look at the ICF Code of Ethics. When you wear the hat of a consultant, that's the contract that you have with your client. I'm consultant and you're my client, so I will give you advice. So it is very sensitive in the ICF Code of Ethics that says you have to be very cautious when you remove that hat of a consultant and you put on the hat of a coach to the same client. Because maybe you can differentiate, but maybe the client cannot. So ICF's Code of Ethics says you have to be so cautious and you have to make sure the client understands. So another piece we explored with her using self-reflection is, what does the ICF say about a professional coach and advice? So that also became clearer for her. And there were 2 more pieces that we explored. One was the fear. She feared that if she's sitting as a coach to a client and she doesn't know the answer, what value am I adding to the client? What's the point of me being there? Wow. So that was a powerful learning for her. So we opened that up and said, what is the value if you do not know? What value do you get if you do not know? What value can you bring to your client if you do not know? That was deep. So only in supervision, we helped her to go deep and realize that even if I do not know, I am allowing that client to go deep and understand the client, be empathetic and curious. But if I know, then I'm at a level to keep on telling the client, telling the client, telling the client. So if I do not know, I'm there hungry. What is it that's making it difficult? What is it? So I'm asking questions. So that was a big learning for this supervisor. And finally, when she's wearing the coaching hat, the coach hat, then she needs to train herself to see the client is whole, resourceful, creative, capable. There's nothing for her to fix, unlike when she's wearing the hat of a consultant. So that shift she had to learn, and she learned it in that supervision session. Amazing. Okay, so that's looking at the code, what ICF says, plus some emotions. Case study number 4. So very quickly, this supervisee came in and this supervisee says, you know, I've just done the coaching session, but I have a doubt it wasn't good enough. So the coach, the supervisee needs confirmation. It was good, it was good. The supervisee, what the supervisee did was listen to the recording to review, listen to the recording to review, review, and then come to the supervision and say, I still have a doubt. I don't think I'm good. So in the supervision session, what the supervisor did was help the supervisee to understand. When you have a coaching mindset, which is core competency number 2, there's an important piece around practicing self-care. You need to care for yourself. You need to be kind to yourself. You need to show yourself empathy, self-empathy. But this supervisee was judging herself, evaluating herself, critiquing herself. Where is this piece? Where is the space for self-empathy? Sorry, no space. So this, she became aware. Second thing is, before you enter a professional coaching session, there's some affirmation which you can repeat to yourself to get yourself into that zone of, I'm here, not to help, just to partner, not to give advice, but just to be curious and ask questions. So that kind of mindset, a coach mindset, was weak for her. So we highlighted, as a supervisor, as a group, we highlighted to her, what about this? And finally, when you're reviewing the audio tips or whatever, the audio recording, what intention did you set before you review? Is it, let me check and see which areas that I didn't do well so that I can continue to beat myself up, then I can continue to build the self-doubt. So we said there is another way of looking at it, another perspective. So what happened? What is the other perspective? So set the intention. What's the intention you could gain besides looking for mistakes? Look for something that you did well. What else? Look for something that you could do better. What else? So look for areas of growth, learning. This is a learning. I'm looking for areas to learn and grow. So setting that mindset, setting that intention. I'm going to review with only one purpose, to learn and grow, learn and grow. So that shifted, transformed the whole being of the way she was looking at herself, the doubts, the reviews. So again, supervision supported the supervisee in how to shift her perspective towards self-doubt and critique herself. Okay, so that was something around energy. When she's coming, the energy is like so low and she doesn't have that confidence. I don't think I can do coaching. So energy going down, 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 down. So in supervision, we help to boost that energy by shifting and exploring different perspectives. Last one, case study number 5. Okay, supervisee comes to the supervision session and shares this. You know, when I was coaching this person and this person, I was sharing and coaching, and then this client of mine said, "Oh, but that's so basic." So immediately this triggered something in the coach. So the supervisee is triggered. So she's like, "What do you mean it's basic? You cannot attack me. You cannot judge me. That's basic." So immediately the supervisee went into an action, defend herself. Actually, it's not basic. You should call it fundamental. It is fundamental for you to. So we inquired, what was your need to go and switch the dialogue or the words of the client? "Oh, I didn't feel comfortable. There was so much of discomfort when she said the word basic." So that's why I spent 5 minutes to justify why it is not basic and it should be fundamental. So in the supervision session, we, as the co-supervisees and me, we help her to see what is your value when you're sitting there as a professional coach, to be of service to the client. And what did you do? The spotlight suddenly shifted from the client to her because she could feel that discomfort. So what is making her not able to deal with that discomfort? What kind of self-care is she denying herself, that she's not expanding her capacity to hold the word discomfort? So she shifted the spotlight and she couldn't see him as whole, resourceful, creative, and capable. She could not meet the client where the client was. And that's what a professional coach needs to do. Whatever world the client is coming, the client is unique. The client has their own religion, their own set of values, their own beliefs, their own position. I, as the coach, have to meet the client where they are. And if the client uses basic, what does it mean basic to you? My role is to meet them where they are. And that was a whole new learning for the supervisee. The supervisee didn't even realize. She just came with the pain of discomfort. Why did I feel discomfort? Why do I need to justify? Why do I need to shift the client? Okay, so her energy was down because of that word discomfort. So now in the group supervision, we supported her. Okay. So you have heard 5 case studies I've shared with you as to why supervision is important to coaches. So maybe now you can just type in, what do you think is one reason why supervision is important? Preeti, maybe you can just keep track.
Yeah, I'm keeping track.
Thank you. Are they still coming in with answers?
Yeah, do you want me to read it aloud?
No.
A lot of insights coming in.
All right. Maybe we take 1 minute to read some.
All right. So there are a couple of lovely insights coming in that, the reason is for learning and growth, reflection, mind shift, breaking the patterns. Supervision brings up our blind spots as coaches. It gives perspective to the coach to uncover our unknown disablers and grow from there. Shift in mindset, new perspective, to help with continuous improvement via continuous learning. Supporting your relationship with coaching, to bring in a broader view and perspective and see things from a different light. Overcoming self-beliefs, self-limiting beliefs, ongoing learning and improvement. It's a wonderful mirror for coaches to see themselves and reflect. For clarification of certain doubts, emotions, and responses, raising energy and consciousness, coming out of limiting belief, coach mindset, support learning, overcoming self-limiting beliefs again, facilitation, self-doubt, scaling, enhancing the mindset. Again, a mirror, develop personally, professionally, stay loyal to the spirit of competency. It increases self-awareness.
Yes.
To add how we come across to our coachee, to understand, how we come across to our coachee. Again, learning, changing perspectives, reminder that a coach is there to serve the client's needs, reaffirm the coach's core purpose of being a coach, to be back with the energy filled, revisiting the coaching beliefs, dealing with our own biases, enhance the coaching profession, and it is like sharpening the saw.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the responses are so rich.
Right.
I'm doing this masterclass, and if you ask me to say why is supervision so needed by coaches, I wouldn't have been able to come up with such a rich, description. So all of them who shared, actually, they can run a masterclass on supervision. Well done.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Francis.
Okay.
What a deep learning.
Yes, very deep learning.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just, So the last 2 slides is on resources. So if you're keen to become a supervisor, where do you go? Where do you start? Yeah. So there are 3 bodies that I'm sharing with you. Of course, there are more than that, but one is ACSM, which is an Association of Coaching Supervisors and Mentors in Malaysia. So they have set up a body, and then they don't run, but they facilitate supervision. So you can go there and find a supervisor and then bring your case to them, and then they will help you to open it up, give you, do supervision with you. Another place is Recipro Coach, which is online based in Australia. Here again, I'm one of the group supervisors on Recipro Coach. So once in a few months, there will be a group coming to me, and I supervise their cases. And all these 5 cases came from my group supervision that I did on Recipro Coach. So those are real cases, yeah. Then where did I learn? I learned at CSA. So there's Coaching Supervision Academy. They are founded and based in UK, but they also run programs in Asia Pacific. So that's when I learned it in Singapore, when they came down and the facilitators came to Singapore and taught. Okay. So all these 3, they do group supervision as well as individual. One is the training academy. So with that, I say thank you very much for listening, and I'm looking forward to the questions.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your learning, and such a fantastic learning experience, which is again, reflective from the comments and what people have made in the chat box. The richness people are taking away and adding to it speaks for the collective learning we've had today. Francis, thank you so much for that. I'm going to now ask Preeti to curate the questions for Q&A. But before we do that, I would request all of you to please come back on camera so that we could have a little quick snapshot. And we will also have a feedback poll, after this snapshot. So if you could just keep filling in that feedback, and Preeti would take on the questions parallelly. So please do we need to remove the spotlight, Dev? So we all could get into one frame. Yeah, that's perfect.
All right.
Yes.
I'll just take the pitch. I'll take the pick. First screen ready.
The host needs to release the video. I think it's been stopped for some folks.
The host has asked you to start your video.
I've stopped, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The first screen comes through.
Preeti, sorry to disturb. I'm not able to unlock my video. I think the host has disabled it.
Okay. Just give me a minute. All right. Can you now? Yeah. All right. Ready for the first shot? Okay. Just give me a moment. All right. We are done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to request Preeti to curate the Q&A. This is not just the questions that are coming in on the chat box right now, but also some of the questions
Yeah.
our participants had asked for when they filled in the registration form itself. So Preeti, over to you.
Yeah. First of all, Francis, thank you so much. It was such a rich learning. Yeah, we have also launched the feedback poll. While I'm curating the sessions, request everybody to just fill in this poll, and then I'll begin with the questions. I give you about, say, 1 minute to do so.
We're supposed to just click it, is it?
Yeah, just click the various options.
You might have to scroll down just to.
No, can't click.
Yeah, I'm also not able to click. Dave?
I
No,
can.
yeah,
I
we
can. Yes.
Same here, even I can.
I can.
It's
So you
happening. It's happening, Gayatri.
Okay.
So the poll will be active and available to those who've upgraded their Zoom, upgraded or, with the latest updates.
Oh, I see.
So if the latest update has not been installed,
Oh,
you
what a
may not
shame.
be able to access.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, but in any case, hosts and co-hosts will not be able to,
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
because then you would be giving feedback to yourself.
Okay, got it.
So shall I begin with the questions while people are filling in? Okay.
Yeah,
so
please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the first question which came up way before during the session was how best to differentiate between a mentor coach and a coach supervisor.
My favorite question. Because before we start any supervision session, we have to have this dialogue. We'll have like a, okay, this is what a mentor coach does. A mentor coach will observe you, and listen to how you coach, and give you feedback based on our observation on the skills of your coaching, whether you comply to the 8 ICF core competencies or not. So that's what a mentor coach does. Okay. A coach supervisor pushes away all the 8 competencies. They're not interested in all your skills. They create a reflective space for you so that you can take like a mirror. They are holding that mirror for you to look at yourself, to reflect, who was I being? So they are helping you to build up your capacity to be a coach. What is the range of emotion I can handle now? Why can't you handle this one? What are some words I can handle now? If the client says this, that's difficult. That means I don't have the capacity to deal with this client. So how to expand that capacity? So mentor looks at capability. Supervisor looks at capacity. So how big a coach can you become to hold the space for your client?
Wonderful. And as you were sharing that, Francis, I thought, I don't know, you let me know whether this acronym, which I just thought about as you were saying, whether it works. It's like in a supervision, the coach supports the supervisee in its being, energy, and emotion, BEE.
Wow, nice.
Right?
See,
All
you
right.
can run a masterclass now.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to another question which has come up in the live chat now. Is there a recommended frequency for seeking supervision? And can supervision be done only by MCCs?
Ah, good. The second question is easier. The supervision is to be done by anyone who is an accredited supervisor. That means that person has learned what is the framework that they can use in a group or individual supervision. So whether the person is a ACC, PCC, MCC, who cares? Nobody cares, as long as they are an accredited coach supervisor.
So I read another question, in the registration form on this accreditation that you're asking. Is there a mandatory accreditation to be done before a coach can supervise another?
Okay. So this question is very interesting. It's like the cat and mouse or chicken and egg situation. Can someone coach somebody else without having that accreditation? Can they do it? Just coaching, we're not looking at supervision yet. Can they do it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Many people do it.
Many people do it.
Yeah. Why? Because coaching is not a regulated industry.
Right.
Psychology, you can't just go and do counseling without that psychology certificate and education, because it's a regulated, profession. So because coaching is not, there's no one who tells you, come and tell you, oh, I'm a beauty coach. Oh, I'm a exercise coach, fitness coach. Where did you learn your coaching? Oh, I didn't learn any framework. But they can still call themselves a coach. They can still do the coaching. Nobody's going to stop that. In the same way, many people say, I can do supervision. There's no problem about supervision. All I need to do is talk to the coach. So you're looking at quality and credibility, then you choose wisely. It's your choice.
But does ICF mandate that you have to do accreditation?
No, ICF has gone into mandating that. In the same way, ICF doesn't say to be a certified mentor on the mentor registry, you have to prove to us that you got a certification in mentoring. They don't. Anybody can go and register themselves, I'm a mentor, and put their name up into the ICF registry of mentors. So they are not checking that.
Does the supervision process look like coaching? In other words, would a supervisor give advice and or probe the past of a supervisee?
Does a supervision session look like, is it?
Yeah, does the supervision process look like coaching?
Any thoughts on the subject after we interacted?
Sudeep, can you?
No, I'm sorry, I have not.
Sorry. Yeah. So the question is, Francis, does the supervision process look like coaching? So,
okay. So supervision and coaching session. Coaching session, we have like the 8 core competencies that we need to fulfill. Correct? We need to ask the client, what's the topic? What's the outcome? What's this? In supervision, we don't have that. There's no 8 core competencies that's guiding us. The supervisee comes to us and brings a case that they are struggling with. So we use our supervision lens, the vision of a supervisor, use that lens and checks, is it an issue on under emotion, or is it energy, or is it they are not aware about what ICF needs? So they are looking at different perspectives and then asking the question so that the supervisee can reflect from that angle, which they forgot to see. It's in their blind spot.
all right. Good.
So very different.
And which triggers must the coach be watching out for to seek supervision?
Triggers, wow, that's an interesting question. So some triggers, there are not, there's a, in the list is in, what do you call it? Like not exhaustive, yeah. So the list is a lot. Like coaches come to be supervisees when they realize, why is it I'm getting angry with my client? Why is it these clients are difficult? So why is it that I'm getting emotional with clients? Why is it my energy is dropping with these clients? Why is it I'm getting irritated with these guidelines? So there's some emotion, energy shift within the client. What is this poll coming right in front here? There's
So
some
I just ended the poll. I don't know what's come up.
right in front of my face. Okay. So when the coach feels this, then I don't know why, but I want to know. So they want someone to help them put the mirror and help them to see within themselves. Who are they being during the coaching session? Not what they are doing. Doing is mentor can help you because mentor can observe what are you doing. But here is who am I being in that coaching session with my client. So that is when the coach will bring their situation to the supervisor.
Thank you. Thank you for this clarity. A follow-up question on that is there a recommended frequency for seeking supervision?
Yes. So the frequency, it's recommended, like after 30 hours of coaching, you have one supervision. Because after 30, there will be many cases which will be like similar. You're seeing a pattern within yourself. You're attracting difficult clients, don't know from where they're coming to you. So when you see that kind of pattern repeating, then you say, I'm fed up of that pattern and I want to break that pattern, but I don't know how to break that pattern. So why don't I go for supervision? But there's no hard and fast rule that you have to start counting, no, but it's just a general guide.
Okay. I'm assuming that supervision is a paid activity. What is a typical financial investment per session I can expect as a supervisor?
Nothing in this world is free. So if you will pay a mentor, let's say 500, then you should expect to pay a supervisor 500. So it is quite close to the mentoring, how much you will pay a mentor.
Okay. Okay. So I think some questions that came in the registration form on how to be a supervisor, where to go, I think all those points are covered. Now, there is a question on what distinguishes good supervision versus not so good one.
So that same question we can ask the coach. What distinguishes the good coach
coaching?
from not a good coach? Yeah.
Right.
So it'll be the same answer.
There's
to
just,
be,
yeah,
sorry.
There's just one more question which says, when does supervision become intrusive?
What does intrusive mean?
Good question.
Yeah. I cannot answer that until I know what does intrusive mean.
Sure. Good answer.
So in coaching, is coaching intrusive? Is coaching going into a client's world and helping to understand the client? Then if that is, then supervision also goes into the coach's world and helps to unpack for the coach, helps the coach to reflect. Like the coach who was crying because her focus shifted to children because she had a very strong value of love for children, but she didn't know why she was crying. So until the supervisor helped her to bring it out, emerge that value, then she realized, oh my goodness, my energy just focused onto the client. Shifted and focused.
All right.
Questions?
Yes. Are there any specific requirements for being a supervisor?
Are there any specific requirements to be a coach? Same. Be a human being.
Is coaching supervision more important than coaching practice?
What does coaching practice mean? Is it practicing or is it your having your practice? I'm not clear.
it could be either, I don't know, it's an open-ended thing. We can
Yeah.
interpret it in whichever way we want.
Yeah.
Now, there are some questions over here which are not pertaining to supervision, but in general to coaching.
Hmm.
So it's like,
Answer general questions to coaching.
yeah, like what is a powerful question? What are the top 3 transformation theme for executives? So these are a little
Yeah.
different from supervision coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we will not pick those up, Preeti.
Yeah.
Because this
Okay.
is focused on supervision and
Okay,
Yes.
so how do I get the best out of my supervision conversations?
The best you can get out is like how you tell your client, you're coming to a coaching session. The best way for you to get the most out of your coaching session is feel that I have created a safe space for you, that you can open up honestly, truthfully, so that you are authentic. You're bringing a real issue that is a very painful issue to your heart. So be as authentic as you can, because why? I am non-judgmental. I am creating this safe space for you. I am inviting you to be open and free with me. So creating that space is the number one. And then you invite the client.
Now, while you have already explained the difference between mentor coaching and supervision, what are the benefits of supervision, going in for supervision?
That is the why we are having supervision, and we've already answered that because all the participants here gave brilliant answers. And I want to capture the answers if you have. I think can capture, right, in the
Yes.
chat.
Yeah, we can.
That is captured.
Yes.
We'll get
Yeah.
a snapshot of that out to you.
Right.
And then you can pass that snapshot to the person who asked this question. These are all the benefits of.
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In the live chat, there is nothing more. Did I miss out on anything?
Oh, some are from Malaysia.
Hmm.
My students from my school are here. Dr. Alice, Safia. So nice to see my students here. Thank you for coming.
And Francis, are these slides, can I share these?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
okay.
responded to your.
Okay, I didn't see that response. All right, thank you. So I shall send it out to all the participants who have attended the webinar, and
Yes.
share it with them. Thank you. Thank you so much, Francis. I think we're 7 minutes past the time
Yes.
that we had scheduled ourselves for. So thank you so much for your generosity and this power-packed session today. This has been very valuable, as you can see from the reflections people have made in the chat box, and very meaningful learning opportunity. We sincerely thank you, Francis, for being here. I know it's bedtime, past bedtime perhaps for you. Thank you for being here, taking the time, and thank you for your commitment to be in service of the coach community. Really appreciate it.
I am so grateful. I feel honored and blessed that you all have invited me.
Thank you so much, and look forward
Meet
to some
again.
more. Yes, meet again. Signing off now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.